I am Haruhiro Tsujimoto, President and Chief Operating Officer of Capcom. Today, I will discuss the performance of our business segments in the first half of this fiscal year and our strategic goals. First half sales were 31.6 billion yen, 5.7 billion yen higher than the same term last year. Operating income was down 1.5 billion yen to 2.8 billion yen, and the operating margin was 9%. Ordinary income decreased 1.6 billion yen to 2.8 billion yen, and net income attributable to owners of the parent was down 1.0 billion yen to 1.9 billion yen. There were two primary reasons for the growth in sales. First was higher sales of Resident Evil 6 and other major Pachislo products in the amusement equipments business. Second was strong repeat sales of Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate in the consumer subsegment from the digital contents business. There were also two main reasons for the decline in earnings. One was lower earnings in the amusement equipments business. The causes were an increase in the cost of sales in the Pachislo subsegment and the inability of some titles to reach their sales targets. The other reason for lower earnings was mild sales of existing titles in the mobile contents and PC online subsegment of the digital contents. Nevertheless, sales and earnings were both higher than our plan for the first half, so we are making good progress in relation to our fiscal year plan. Implementing the two growth strategies that we established at the beginning of this fiscal year will be critical to achieving our medium-term targets. There was progress with both strategies during the first half. The first strategy is strengthening the consumer business. In this fiscal year, we are focusing on expanding the lineup of new titles and increasing digital download sales for both full game and add-on contents. Monster Hunter 4G, including Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, which we launched in the previous fiscal year, is continuing to post solid sales. Cumulative sales passed 4 million units on October 21st. Furthermore, the overseas version of this game, which we call Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, has topped 1 million units. This is the first time a title in this series has reached 1 million units in overseas sales. I believe this is a very significant accomplishment with respect to the future overseas growth of the Monster Hunter franchise. The second strategy is to step up the online game business. For some time, we have been working on enlarging the title lineup in our online business. Near the end of the first half, we started operations for major titles of this fiscal year in the PC online and mobile contents. On August 27th, we started services for the online game Dragon's Dogma Online. The launch was very successful. There are now more than 1 million downloads and more than 100,000 simultaneous players. I believe this title is about to become one of Japan's leading online games. In the mobile contents, we started distributing Monster Hunter Explorer in September. The title immediately generated a very good response. Downloads are currently approaching 3 million. We are holding numerous events and using other activities for more growth in the number of users and daily active users. Next, I will discuss our business segments. I will start with the digital contents business and focus mainly on strategic goals for the second half. In the consumer sub-segment, we are concentrating on global sales of major titles and on increasing digital download sales of old and new titles. We plan to launch Monster Hunter Cross on November 28th in Japan. Our sales goal for this fiscal year is 2.5 million units. We have received a very positive response at the Tokyo Game Show and at events where people could try out this new game. Orders are climbing steadily, and I am becoming confident about reaching the sales target. The global launch of Street Fighter V is scheduled for February 18, 2016. We plan to sell 2 million units. The second closed beta test that took place in late October was successful. Next, we plan to use promotional activities incorporating esports and other activities with the goal of generating popularity from this title for a long time. In addition, we continue to make progress with our digital download strategy and with remake of older titles. In the fourth quarter, we plan to start selling a remastered version of Resident Evil 0 as both packaged software and a download. We have also decided to create a remastered version of Resident Evil 2. There is no change in our sales volume plan for the fiscal year. We plan on a reduction in the number of titles to 29, down 4 from the previous fiscal year. Our sales plan is 13 million units, the same as in the previous fiscal year. This is the sum of 6 million units of packaged software, down 2 million, and digital downloads of 7 million units, up 2 million units. My next topic is second half strategies in the mobile contents and PC others subsegments. In the mobile contents, the operation of Monster Hunter Explorer is the most important item concerning the Capcom brand. Performance is surpassing our expectations with downloads now approaching 3 million. We plan to strengthen ties with other Capcom brand titles and take other actions to attract even more users. The Beeline brand will continue to target female users worldwide. Our goal is to increase the ratio of active game players for our current titles. In the PC Others, one goal is the stable operation of Monster Hunter Frontier G. We are also aiming to make Dragon's Dogma Online, which we launched in the first half of this fiscal year, the next major title following Monster Hunter Frontier G. The launch of Dragon's Dogma Online was fairly successful, with the number of downloads already more than 1 million. We are using updates, events, and other activities in order to continue to increase the number of users. Preparations are underway for the official launch of Monster Hunter Online, a title we are developing with Tencent Holdings Limited in China. I believe that new information about this game will be announced at the Tencent Games Carnival that will take place in Shanghai starting on November 13th. There is no change to the fiscal year plan for the digital contents business. This reflects the latest data concerning the performance of titles in the consumer and online business. Our plan is for segment sales of 48.5 billion yen, up 3.2 billion yen, operating income of 11.0 billion yen, up 800 million yen, and an operating margin of 22.7%. We expect consumer sales of 35.0 billion yen, about the same as in the previous fiscal year, and increases of 1.4 billion yen to 5.5 billion yen in the mobile contents category and 2.0 billion yen to 8.0 billion yen in the PC Others category. My next subject is the arcade operations business. Japan's amusement arcade market is slowly shrinking. However, we have made no change to our fiscal year plan due to the outlook for earnings resulting from efficient arcade operations and for contributions to sales and earnings from new arcades. New initiatives include adding retail areas at arcades to sell merchandise and operating character-themed cafes that sell food and beverages. The first Capcom cafe will open on November 20th at the Aeon Laketown Shopping Center in the city of Koshigaya in Saitama Prefecture. Initially, this cafe will feature Monster Hunter Cross to coincide with the launch of this title. We plan to use these cafes as places where people can directly interact with a broad spectrum of Capcom content. In the second half of this fiscal year, we plan to open 3 locations in this business and close 1. We expect existing arcade sales to increase 1%. For the fiscal year, we foresee an 800 million yen increase in sales to 10.0 billion yen, a 200 million yen increase in operating income to 1.1 billion yen, and an operating margin of 11.0%. Next, I will discuss our amusement equipment strategies for the fiscal year's second half. We expect to reach our fiscal year sales target by concentrating on repeat sales and sales of products from subcontracting business in the second half. In the pachinko and pachislo business, no new product launches are planned at this time. Therefore, we plan to generate earnings by concentrating on repeat sales of current titles and sales in the subcontracting business. In the arcade game sales business, we foresee a steady contribution to sales and earnings from the versions of 2 existing games that bill customers via the internet, Cross Beats Rev and Luigi Mansion Arcade. In this business, we plan on fiscal year sales of 15.0 billion yen, up 7.5 billion yen, operating income of 3.0 billion yen, up 300 million yen, and an operating margin of 20.0%. The profit margin will decline this fiscal year in the amusement equipments business, but one-time factors are mainly responsible. In arcade game sales, The length of time that each machine produces earnings is becoming longer because of the use of internet billing. In the pachinko and pachislo business, sales of some titles fell short of the plan, and the cost of sales ratio was low in the previous fiscal year due to the use of the recycled parts for different models. In this fiscal year, this ratio rebounded somewhat. My final subject is the forecast for the fiscal year ending in March 2016. Our initial plan for the fiscal year is unchanged. We expect to reach our sales and earnings targets by concentrating on sales of major titles and energizing the lineup of online contents. We forecast an 11.7 billion yen increase in sales to 76.0 billion yen, a 1.4 billion yen increase in operating income to 12.0 billion yen, an 800 million yen increase in ordinary income to 11.7 billion yen, and a 1.0 billion yen increase in net income attributable to owners of the parent to 7.7 billion yen. We forecast earnings per share of 136.94 yen and a fiscal year dividend of 40 yen, the sum of a 15 yen interim dividend and 25 yen year-end dividend. Everyone at Capcom has a strong commitment to achieving the sales and earnings targets for this fiscal year.